What's going on, Bus Gang? You already know who it is. It's your girl, Super Blessed, and I'm back with another video for you guys. This week's video is about miscarriages. I felt like it was a good topic to discuss. I wanted to share a little bit of what I experienced during my miscarriages. And yes, I said miscarriages because I had more than one. With a miscarriage, that is when a mother will lose the baby before the 20th week. The mom passes the fluids and blood and tissue. As I go along in this video, I am allowing there to be a warning because I will insert a few pictures of my experience when I miscarried at about 8 weeks. It can be very emotionally draining, but also physically draining because, you're losing a child. Before I get started, I want to remind you guys to give this video a thumbs up. If there's any questions, make sure you drop them down in the comments below and hit that notification bell so you won't miss another video. If you're not yet part of Blessed Gang, Blessed and Gang, and you're watching, just hit that subscribe button. It's not that hard, you guys. So let's jump into this video. I want to discuss what I even was thinking when I made this video. I am reminded every single day at this point that I had miscarriages because I am successfully pregnant with my baby. And you would see that my whole entire channel mainly has been wrapped around what my pregnancy is like. At this point in time, I have taken up doing crocheting. After wanting to dedicate a piece of art towards my baby, I thought that would be a good idea to make a video towards the subject because there are many people who are experiencing miscarriages. 1 in 4 women will experience a miscarriage. It doesn't mean that you are a bad person. Things just happen. And it happens to a lot of us, so don't ever feel alone. Also, if you have had a miscarriage, I think it's a good idea to seek some medical help if you find that you are struggling with that type of experience. I am going to crochet, and I also want to remind you guys, if you follow me on my social media, you'll see all the different types of merchandise that I have been making. A lot of them are geared toward a favorite baby item, and there's a couple adult items out there that you can wear, you can match your baby. Just check it out, you guys. In the summer of 2019, I had experienced my very first miscarriage. So first, I want you to understand that you should listen to your body. A lot of the times we rely on medical professionals to tell us certain things and what to expect, but I definitely think you should listen to your body as well. Not that they are wrong, but sometimes we're all different. So you don't want to ignore any of the clear signs that you are having a miscarriage. When a person is having a miscarriage, you will experience maybe some cramping and a little bit of bleeding, but don't freak out either because bleeding can be also associated with your uterus expanding. So I decided to do a voiceover for this part because of the loud noise that was in the background from my boyfriend starting his shower. So I was basically saying that your uterus can be easily irritated and cause bleeding throughout pregnancy, just in general. When I first thought that I was having a miscarriage, I had called my physician. It's common for them to ask you, are you filling up a pad every hour? At that point, you know something's wrong, so you're not going to be at home filling up a pad. You know what I mean? But they asked me that, and I'm like, no, I'm not. At that point, I had been experiencing mild cramping, a little bit of spotting throughout the last couple days. So they're steady telling me, you're fine. So I'm just going along with it. Like, okay, if you say so, then I guess. but my mind was, there was still something telling me like, no, there's something wrong. It has to be a miscarriage. I feel like it was, and I had not had any experience with it, but it could also be me just being a first-time mom and that I was freaking out in that aspect as well. And a lot of times they expect that first-time moms freak out about everything too. They're like, oh no, okay, so all right, I'm not filling up a pad, so everything must be right, everything must be okay. I still felt like unease about that, so I went to the emergency room. When I went to the emergency room, at that point I did experience like what appears to be to me a little bit of spotting, and I still was having the mild cramping. And then the first emergency visit, they did an exam. They checked out my cervix. I had not dilated at that point. Every 2 days or so, your HCG levels at the first trimester should be doubling, and I had nothing to compare to, so 2 days later I had to come back. So there was no definite way to tell if I was miscarrying at that point or not. I just wanted to note that whenever you are miscarrying, your HCG level begins to decrease, and that's the only time during your pregnancy your HCG level will decrease in the first trimester. My cervix was still closed. I was fine. I had 2 days later to report back to the emergency room. Well, to report back to the physician, which I had to go to the emergency room because 2 days later from the day that I went was actually a Sunday. So before I can even return to get my HCG levels done over, I had actually miscarried. They'll tell you this and that, and even if the things are looking good, I'm not gonna say still worry, but still be a little bit cautious that they could be wrong because they're human too. When I had miscarried at about 8 weeks, I had passed a lot of blood. And they say, oh, it's like, a heavy period. It's not like a heavy period. It's not like a heavy period at all. And you can just feel everything just, it feels very uncomfortable. It's just a really weird feeling. And then to also know that it's a human, like it's just gone. You know what I mean? There's nothing you can do. Also, that is important to say, if you're before your 20th week, there's nothing that can be done at all. After I did finally miscarry, I had to go back and get blood work done every 2 days where they would check my HCG levels, making sure that they returned back to 0, because if they didn't, they assumed that there was still parts that had remained and they would have to do a D&C. A D&C is a process very similar to an abortion where they go in and they take out all of the remains that your body wasn't able to get rid of naturally. In that situation, I was fine. I did not have to do a D&C. Yay. At this point, I'm going to insert a few graphic images. Those images, yeah. You do experience a cramp that I could say resembles a menstrual cycle. I'm going to insert those pictures, and this image here, as you can see, that is a lot of blood. This next image is what I made out to be a placenta. The placenta came last, and once it did finally come out, a lot of the cramping had subsided and it was a little bit easier physically on me. For my second miscarriage, I made it to about 3 weeks if I had to take a guess. I would say that that one was very close to a menstrual cycle. I mean, there was still lots of bleeding and a little bit of cramping. I remember going to the bathroom, I wiped, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm bleeding. And at that point, I knew right away with my previous experience that it was over. Oh, my boyfriend was just being optimistic, and he was just telling me, you don't know, but when you've experienced certain things and it's your body, you know. I appreciate him trying to be comforting and things like that. With the second miscarriage, went to the emergency room. During that visit, they had told me, let's check your HCG level. They checked it, and it was at a 10. At 3 weeks, it should have been in the thousands. It was just terribly low. 10 is not, that's like a couple days old. That was a given. They didn't have to check my cervix. They just knew that that is what was going on. And so with that situation, I don't know exactly what had caused it. A lot of the times people say that, miscarriages can be spontaneous. And so your first miscarriage, hey, it's probably a coincidence. Your second miscarriage, okay, we're going to keep an eye on it. But when you have your third miscarriage, there's probably some type of underlying problem that physicians definitely want to take a look at and get you checked out. So after your third miscarriage, more than likely you're going to have a few tests ran. And thank God I didn't have to experience a third miscarriage. I am successfully pregnant with my baby. What can cause a miscarriage? In my circumstance, they considered it to be a spontaneous miscarriage. With my second one being that they said that the growth was abnormal, I feel like maybe trying to have a baby the same month that I had finished my Accutane was not a good idea. I also have a video on Accutane. If you want, you can check that out. I'll leave that down in the description box below. Accutane is a medication that will help clear your severe acne. And in fact, I had started to get my severe acne literally right after the miscarriage, my first miscarriage. I don't know what really played a part in it, but it was so terrible. You guys have to check that out. If you or you know someone who was dealing with acne, that's the video you want to check out. I can't necessarily say that that really played a part in it, but I just had a few guesses because you should wait a month after taking your last dose to try to conceive, and I waited literally the exact day and we got pregnant very quickly. I just think that everything happens for a reason. Be patient, treat your body right, be as healthy as you can before trying to conceive. And if you are a person who have issues with conceiving, it's okay to not be okay. If you are struggling with a loss, talk to someone. We all go through a lot of pain. You shouldn't have to deal with that pain on your own. So I'm here. Don't ever hesitate to leave any questions you guys have in the comments down below. I'll definitely reply back. It's not a problem. I really just think that I wanted to be able to connect with all of my viewers on a different level. I've had a miscarriage, not only one, but I've had two. And as painful as it is, it's a good thing to know that I can conceive. There's women out there who can't conceive. We want to be positive. We want to think in a positive way. So I hope that this was an eye-opening video. I hope you guys liked what the content was about. If you have any other suggestions for me, definitely leave them down in the comments below. If you are struggling with recovering from a miscarriage, please don't hesitate to reach out because you are not alone. There's plenty of us who are dealing with this, who has dealt with this, and there is a rainbow at the end of the storm. And I'm hoping that a lot of us get to have that rainbow. So I'm just really excited for my experience and for all the moms who have waited, however long to conceive, and finally they did, and they had a successful pregnancy and they brought their bundle of joy into this world. Or for those who can afford IVF, whatever route it is that allows you to be a parent, whether it's fostering, having a surrogate, whatever it is, just be loved. I'm here if you have any questions. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's any questions, just make sure you drop them down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to your girl and become part of Blessed Gang, because there's no other way in life than to be blessed, okay? Last but not least, hit the notification bell because I want you to be in the loop with every video that I post. I hope your life is filled with more blessings and less stressing. All right, you guys, take care. Mwah.